Well, we are back on Morning Line. Thanks for joining us. Our guest, Josh Horn with the Social Security Administration, taking your calls, 737-7587. If you want to jump in, we've got some lines open. We've got more calls coming, but it's interesting, just as we came out of the break, you're talking about the three-stool process. And we were discussing, I was talking to him about my folks and how much they get in Social Security and how hopefully some of that will help pay for their assisted living when they have to go to that. Not all of it, but some of it. But yeah, the old three-stool, the three-leg stool,
for years,
it's now really two legs now.
Yeah, I mean, for years, we talked about the three-legged stool, and we still do talk about it pretty often as far as, Social Security was not meant to be your sole source of income.
That's one leg, though.
It's one leg, and then you had savings, 401ks, investments, things like that, and then you also had pensions. Well, a lot of companies are moving away from pensions and more into the 401ks and things like that, and so it just kind of goes back to please don't rely only on Social Security, especially if you're, somebody who is still working and has the opportunity to start saving and putting things in investments and stuff like that. Don't rely only on Social Security, because those are the folks that are just really struggling, as those who only have Social Security to live on.
And you're right. Pensions are pretty much, if you're working someplace that still has a pension, that's unique now. It used to be the norm. It doesn't exist much anymore. So you've got your savings, hopefully some type of 401k or IRA or something that you put some money into, and then your Social Security. Maybe you have some property if you've owned a home, and at some point you decide when your family grows out and moves away, you can sell that and you'll have that money move into something smaller. All that kind of stuff, you got, when you're young, you don't have to think about that crap. As you get older, it's like, it was so much simpler back then. All right, lines open. Let's go next to Randy. Randy, good morning.
Yeah, I need to ask a question. Okay, my mom passed away in November, and I went by to the local office yesterday to see when the death benefit would be paid. I was told that nobody can actually claim the $255 death benefit.
Yeah, there's some very specific provisions for that one-time $255 lump sum payment, and it can either go to a spouse that they were living with and married to when they passed away. It could go to minor children, or it can go to a spouse that's drawing on their record, like maybe an ex-spouse or something like that. That's pretty much it. So sometimes when we see that the other spouse has already passed away and there's no minor children, only adult children, that it's just not payable.
Does that help?
Yeah.
All right, Randy, thanks for your call. Let's go next to Blaine. Blaine, good morning. Are you there, Blaine? Don't want to lose Blaine. Blaine waited for a bit. Are you there, Blaine? We'll come back to you. I'm going to put him on hold if you want to check on 5 and see if Blaine just stepped away. We'll go next to Donna. Hi, Donna.
Hi.
Hey, good morning. How can we help you?
Well, I've been trying to find out when my husband dies, if he dies first, he has the largest Social Security income check.
Okay.
What percentage of his check could I get?
How much do you guys get combined right now, yours and his together?
Well, after the Social Security, the Medicare is reduced, it's $1,913.
That's combined, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and then how much does he get and how much do you get?
He gets $1,455. I get $458.
I got you. Okay, and you're wondering what would happen if and when he passes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a couple of different variables in there. One is, how old you are when he passes away. If you're 62, and you switch over to his record, you're gonna draw a lot lower percentage of what his. If both of you, if you're over full retirement age when he passes away, you're pretty much just gonna switch right over to his amount. So, but you're gonna come off of your own and switch to his. So, unfortunately, if you're drawing about $1,500 combined right now, that's still going to go down significantly if he were to pass away, because you'd switch over and be drawing the $1,040 or whatever the amount was.
Does that make sense?
Well, he's 74 and I'm 69, so we don't have to worry about the
right. So you'd pretty much
ages.
Yeah, you'd pretty much just switch right over to his amount.
Okay, so she would end up getting his amount. It would still be less than what they were getting combined.
Correct.
But she could go for his amount, which is considerably more than what she's drawing on her own.
And are you already drawn on his record?
Yes.
Yeah, it's probably going to be an automatic process too. They'll probably send you a little note in the mail just for you to check mark and send back that, yeah, you do want the widow's benefits. A lot of times they'll just send you a little card to check mark and send back, so you don't have to waste your time coming into the office or anything. So hopefully it won't happen for quite a while, but whenever that does happen, you can look for that.
Well, I have tried to call the Social Security office here in Antioch, and one lady told me, she said, well, you only get half of his. Half? I can't live on the half.
No, that's...
Half wouldn't even pay the mortgage. She said, ma'am, it's always been that way. She was grouchy.
Yeah.
And I was just so frustrated.
Well, that's wrong, isn't it?
Trying to make up a budget.
Yeah.
That's only, that's while y'all are still both alive is the 50% or the half, but no, when you switch over to his record as a widow, then it's pretty much his that same amount.
Yeah, that just she may have been referring to while you're still alive and misunderstood, but you'll get that. By the way, so whenever that happens, when there's a couple and one of them passes, typically what'll happen if they both had a work history is the spouse will look and see if what they're drawing on their own is more than what the spouse who passed away, then they just stay where it is. But if the spouse that passed was drawing more, then you can switch over to that.
Yeah, and I've seen a couple different things depending on how old the parties are. But sometimes a spouse will start with widow's benefits, and then let her own benefits grow, because on your own record you can earn delayed retirement credits all the way up until age 70, which will go even more than the full retirement age amount. So we see a lot of folks when they turn 62, if their spouse passed away, they'll start drawing the widow's benefits, even though it may be less, and then let their own grow until they turn 60, until they turn 70, and then they'll switch and reap the benefits. So there's a couple of, whenever you're talking about widow's benefits, there's usually 2 or 3 scenarios that you can look at, especially if it's earlier on.
Good idea. All right, let's go next. I think Blaine's back now. Blaine, good morning. Hi, Blaine.
Good morning.
Hey, how can we help you?
First of all, I want to thank Channel 5 for having this kind of program on.
Sure, our pleasure. We've been doing it for years, helping lots of people.
I have, for the first time, having to jump into the deep waters of supplemental policy.
Okay.
And I guess being a little naive, I thought everybody would make it simple and everybody would be for you, but it seems like it's pretty much a cutthroat business. And I was wondering, is there a safe clearinghouse or internet site you can go to that sort of compares these policies?
So I believe you're talking about the supplemental plans for Medicare, because Medicare covers 80% of cost, but then there's that 20% hanging, and then there's also the the Advantage plans.
They have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, Q, R, S, T.
Then there's the Advantage plans and things like that.
Yeah.
I typically refer folks to 2 different places. One is Medicare. You can go to you can call 1-800-MEDICARE, or you can go to Medicare.gov, and they have what they call a formulary, and it'll help you choose a Part D plan. I believe it may even talk about those Advantage plans, those Part C plans that kind of combine everything together. The other place that I typically refer folks to is the State Health Insurance Assistance Program, the SHIP folks.
That's it.
They're fantastic. Their sole purpose is to help folks get the right Medicare coverage and answer questions about Medicare. And sometimes, because Social Security is involved, Medicare is involved, third parties are involved, they can that can get kind of back and forth, and they kind of connect all the dots. So
you don't have to have a supplemental plan, but a lot of times many people will say that supplement does save you money. Now, I have the number for SHIP if you want that. And he's right. It's kind of a clearinghouse. It's what you're looking for. We've had representatives on this program before, and they're terrific. I'm glad you mentioned them. Do you have a pen and paper there?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, it's toll free. It's 1-877-801-0044. And that is basically, 0044. Did you get that?
Got it.
Okay, and that's the State Health Insurance Assistance Program for Medicare participants. And you call them, and it's counseling, and they basically will give you assistance. It's free, it's objective, they're not selling anything. They represent you, not the insurance companies, and they can give you some options and some ideas on what maybe works best for you. They're terrific. So take advantage of that, and I understand what you're saying. It can be really confusing.
Well, not totally confusing because I didn't realize there was like A through G and A.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Give them a call and let them walk it through, and hopefully you can find the best plan for you.
I'll do that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Glad we could help you, Blaine. Let's go to Eddie. Eddie, good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, Eddie.
Hi. I fully retired last year.
At age 60, how old? I guess.
65 and a half.
There you go. Okay.
Started drawing Social Security. After about 6 months, went back to work part-time. They are still taking Social Security, or they're starting to take Social Security out of my part-time check now. Will that ever benefit me? Or will my Social Security increase at some point in the future because of this, or where is that money going?
That's a great question. So I'll start by saying that your Social Security is taken out of any payroll check. I mean, no matter what age you are, and as you're experiencing now, even your part-time check, they're taking Social Security out, even though you're drawing Social Security. So how Social Security is calculated is it takes the highest 35 years of indexed earnings, and I'll try to explain that. They take your whole lifetime of earnings, they bring it all up to today's standards based on inflation and everything, but they bring it up to today's standards, so that's called indexing. And then they look and see what the highest 35 years are, and they take those highest 35 years and they plug them into the equation for how much benefits you're getting. Now, for somebody who's worked their entire life and worked steady and worked consistently, it's probably not going to benefit. A part-time job is probably not going to ever benefit your Social Security amount. But for somebody who may have had several years where they didn't work at all, or they had very low earnings, but they managed to get just enough to get Social Security, and if they then keep working into their retirement years, those years may knock out some 0 year or low earning year that was taken into the equation and increase their Social Security a little bit. I've seen that, here and there, and with those type of situations. So it kind of depends on how steady your work was, how much you were making earlier on. If you're somebody who had a lot of 0 years that were taken into that equation, it could bring your benefit up simply by knocking out a 0 year.
Okay, and again, how many years is that?
Because
I'm sorry, 35.
I am working fewer hours. I'm working at not quite the same amount. Working basically just to just to get out of the house for a little bit every day. So
and that's a good question. I would wonder for him. So the bottom line is, if what he's earning now does not exceed what he earned over the 35-year period, then the money that is taken out of his check just goes into the Social Security fund. The trust fund is where it goes. So it's just going into the trust fund and will go toward paying other Social Security. But I see what you're saying. So the question is, 35 years. Now, think about your 35 years of earnings. Like I said, one of mine is right there around $12,000 a year. I mean, if I can later in life maybe earn more than that, then that would bump that off, push me up, and I could get then a little bit more, right?
But see, if you started working, let's say at age 20, and then you retire at age 65, that's 45, right? That's 45 years.
That one probably would be bumped out.
So there's 10 years that are automatically going to be dismissed anyway, because you're taking the highest 35 years. Most people work,
Yeah, you're right. I think I'm pretty much in that.
I mean, I started working when I was about 14 or 14, I think. Well, those years aren't going to count in my equation, because hopefully,
you were making peanuts back then, delivering papers.
Yeah, exactly.
Selling lemonade.
Cleaning parking lots, actually.
So. Not a bad gig. All right, listen, on that note, we'll take a break. We've got lines open, 737-7587. If we can help you with any question about Social Security, give us a call. Josh Horn's here. We'll do this in our final segment right after this.